I have an old script. Has that changed at all?
Nope. Same thing.
Okay.
You just have to speed talk, like you're from New Jersey, like you're from New Jersey.
All right. Read the script first. Okay. So, listen, excuse me. Okay, as a preliminary matter, this is the Historic Structures Advisory Board meeting. I'm the chair, Mickey Rowland. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Lucy?
Yes.
Angus?
Yep. Here.
And I'm not seeing Brooke just yet.
Mr. Chair, I don't believe Brooke is going to attend today. He sent me an email. Apologize.
Okay, so this is it. Staff, when I call your name, please respond. Holly?
Present.
Thank you. Good afternoon. This open meeting of the Historic Structures Advisory Board is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings. And as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the meeting law to have all meetings in publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can have the agenda materials for this meeting, allows entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. For this meeting, Historic Structures Advisory Board is convening by video conference via Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and to take care not to share your screen on your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available at the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the following agenda, using the posted agenda, unless I, Mickey Rowland, note otherwise. We are now turning to the first agenda item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each to providing any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold name is called. Further, please remember to your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in a conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. After members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment to those members of the public that have joined the meeting via Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak must state their names and be acknowledged by and speak through the chair. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Okay. So, call the meeting to order. Members present, adoption of agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
Yeah.
Lucy, seconded by Angus. Thank you. All those in favor? Lucy, Angus,
Yes.
and I'm in favor. Approval of minutes. Do we have minutes to approve?
No, not right now.
Okay. No public comment, so we'll go to the first item, which is 48 Orange Street.
Hi guys, I'm here.
if you have any questions.
Okay, Tori, you're doing this application?
Yeah, I'm representing for Paul.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So it's a, have you looked at it yet, or is this the first time you're seeing it?
It's the first time
This is
for
the-
us as a board.
Yeah,
Okay.
first time they're seeing it.
Tori, do you want to make any comments first?
Sure. I was just going to explain what we're looking at, and I believe I bubbled all the elevations. They're adding a porch roof over the back of the porch. I believe that little private way to the left of this house is called Cash's Court. Is that right, Holly? I'm not.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So from a public way, you're not going to see this. We walk down Flora Street, which is the other road, and as you go down the hill on Flora, there might be a slight chance that you see, if you're looking at the east elevation, you see the upper right corner of this roof structure. But other than that, or it may not be seen at all. You'd have to be the right spot, the right height in order to see any of it. And then I think it's more, I'll defer to you guys. I think it's more appropriate to have round columns, but I know that in general on Island, we like square columns better.
Are these shown as round or square?
These, they look like they're round to me, don't they?
They do.
Could be either.
It could be either. They look more round to me the way they're drawn.
I kind of think so too, but it's hard to say.
It's hard to say, right? I think they'll defer to whatever you guys think is best for a recommendation. They're not tied to one or the other. I just thought I would.
My first comment is Cash's Court may be a private way, but is might also be considered a traveled way.
Okay.
So I think that we need to think of that as a possible view spot,
Okay.
which probably makes this rather visible from Cash's Court.
Well, not until you see how it's hard to tell, but if you follow my bubbling, it's a good, those second and floor decks are existing on the main structure, the main body of the home with the arched window at the top of the gable.
Yeah.
Those are existing right now, so you won't even see this till you get past those. So if anything, those would be more present and imposing than this would.
Oh, I think I see what you're saying.
The existing elevation is below the bubbled one.
But it's out in front of it, isn't it? It projects out in front.
This particular deck, yes, goes out from those double decks.
Yeah.
And is exposed right now, fully open to the sun.
Okay. Any Angus or Lucy feel like making comments?
I would prefer round columns,
Okay,
preferably tapered at the top.
that's what I think too, yeah. And that looks like the way they're drawn too.
Well, some of them look straight and some of them look tapered.
Okay,
Mr. Chair, just to notate that this is a Greek revival circa 1840, 2.5 story. This is from Clay Lancaster, 2.5 story shingle on brick basement and chimneys, 3-bay facade with front gable, 2 4/4 round windows, 2 garret, pilaster doorway, 6/6 pane windows. Later, the 2-story projection bay window is added, obviously. Just give some context.
Yeah. Okay. Angus?
My only concern is the virtual flat roof of this porch.
Mhm.
Is that in keeping with the style of the house?
Yeah, that was my, do you have anything else besides that, Angus?
So I take it that the porch itself is existing with the baluster and the lattice work and the stairs and all that. That's all existing.
No, the existing drawing is right below it. If you look, the stairs come directly out from the deck right now. And there's no lattice right now. That's open. So what we're asking for is the lattice and to redirect the stairs and the porch roof structure.
I think all of that is a move in a better direction.
I think so too, yeah.
The stair going the other way and closing that up and doing the lattice work.
Yeah.
But it's almost reading like a pergola. It's just like there's almost no pitch. I can see there's a little pitch, but what is it? It's probably 1% or something.
Yeah, it looks like that, very small, like you're saying.
Tori, I think I'm going to recommend a view on this to the commission.
Okay,
Because, you know, Cassius Court it's a public traveled way. It's been on the books for, you know, eons.
yeah.
So visibility, making sure what it would look like.
And you're speaking of the HDC board
Oh,
Yeah, I would recommend a view. Yes.
of them. Okay, is what you're saying. Okay,
Yes.
okay.
I'm going to also add to that. I think that Angus has a good point that this is a really flat roof, which, you know, I think will be pretty visible. It's also, to me, a sort of a high ceiling in the porch. The you know, the top of the columns and the porch beam seems a little out of proportionately high compared to the windows and door. If you look at the
On the first floor.
Yeah, look at the east elevation. Holly.
Yep.
It seems like that porch beam wants to come down a bit, just to get because it seems almost too airy, too much space above the doors, and that might give some room to steepen the pitch if that works.
I was going to say that's a good point, Mickey. The beam of the porch is a bit higher than the windows, and by bringing that eave or that plate down, you know, maybe you could get closer to the minimum floor pitch of the guidelines.
Yeah.
Minimum 4 pitch is what you want?
It's typical. I mean, I'm sometimes
Okay.
taking less, and I don't know what that existing pitch is on this house, but we usually
Okay.
use before.
I wouldn't want to go any shallower than the existing pitch. Maybe if it were an extension of that and see where you end up with your plate height and your beam there.
Okay,
Okay. Anything else on that one?
Other than that, I feel like this is a step in the right direction with this.
Okay.
okay, great.
Thanks, Dory.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, moving on to 85 North Liberty.
Chair, can I interrupt just for a moment?
Sure.
Linda, what are you here for? Can we jump to anything that you're
Let's
wanting
see.
to speak to?
I think I'm the last thing on there, 22 Cliff Road, a driveway. And
Chair,
I
do
think
you
I'm
wanna
last tonight too.
do that first?
If you want to, I just don't want to, you know, hold up anybody else who happens to be here.
No, I don't see why we wouldn't do that. And there's two other members, people present. Chris Delmas, are you here for something?
I think, Chris, you're on mute.
There you
So
are.
Elizabeth O'Rourke, I'm here for,
Yeah, sorry, Mickey,
Sure.
alive and present.
Chris, which application are you for?
Number 5, 28 Lily.
All right, we'll try to handle these first. And Elizabeth,
yeah, I'm here for the Halbert Ave one. The boardwalk
Okay.
on Halbert.
49 Halbert.
I propose that we just take these in the order on the list, but do them.
If they're not here, you go on. Yeah.
all right, so what were you saying, Angus? Do you want to jump down, or do you want to go on the agenda?
I would do them in the order of the people who are here on a list. So Holbert Avenue, and then
Then Chris, I think.
Chris is
That's
what?
right,
what-
yes.
Here's Chris, and then Cliff Road.
Okay, well, why don't we handle it this way? Is there anybody on here for 3 Westchester? Or 85 North Liberty? If not, then we'll come back to those and we'll go right to 49 Holbert. So this is Elizabeth.
Yep.
Good. Go ahead.
So it's an existing house, and we're changing the parking. We're making it a little bit smaller, turning into a 1-car. We're removing, we would, pitch it away towards the street, kind of remove those retaining walls there, the wood walls. And then we wanted to do, there's a boardwalk currently in the back, sort of left side of the house, and it's right against the building. So, and then we're in a resource area. So rather than having a lawn and all of that, we thought we'd just kind of, reconnect that boardwalk to the section of the back deck that's there, and do the same thing on the other side of the house. So that was all Conservation Commission approved last year. And the client just held off onto, moving forward with the work, but they're ready to do that now.
Okay. There's, I see a gate to the far left, which looks like it's part of your application.
Yeah, just a little gate. There is the neighbor across the street has like a deeded access path. But we thought that, if we have a little gate, that it will maybe discourage people from, just walking across the property, which becomes a liability.
Sure.
It's not a public way. It's a deeded access for a specific neighbor.
Okay. And then another couple questions I had is there's some, by the front door next to the driveway, I guess, are those just 2 short sections of the type 2 fencing?
I believe so.
One of them is isolated and circled in blue clouds.
Yeah, that's right. There is an existing fence there now, so we would just, when we reduce the driveway, we would just kind of do the little garden on the inside of the fence.
Okay. All right. Angus? Thoughts?
I don't quite understand that, where you were just talking about the path to the front door from the driveway. It looks like it's set up for some sort of pergola situation with 4 posts, with those 2 parallel sections of fence. I sort of understand the front section wrapping around and creating a passage onto the path, but the part north of that, on the right side of the path, where it's not really connected to anything, I don't quite understand. I think that segment looks out of place without there being a continuation of the fence that's going perpendicular to the road to Holbert Ave.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It seems like that would want to, on the right side of that passage, continue towards the building along the driveway.
We were actually creating a little, the bicycles on the illustrated, we're actually creating like a little bike section there. So by having the return, we were kind of stopping sort of the circulation from coming across.
I understand that makes sense. Then what I would do is go along the back side of the parking, the west side of the parking, and do an L of fence, but just a segment standing alone, I don't think makes visual sense.
Yeah, thank you, Angus. I think we could add a section. That's a good comment.
Where would that section be?
The
So
west
if you
side
go
of the
up,
parking.
go up towards the street from the second post. Go up towards the house, from the.
Kind of a continuation of the other piece that turns the corner.
Mhm. I mean, I think from the street, it really doesn't change like what people see. It's more like of an internal change, but I think it's a good comment.
Yeah, I kind of felt it was a little odd standing along that short section by itself. So this will anchor that a little better, I think.
In
Lucy?
fact, I think it might make more sense to eliminate that section and just have it go along the west and the north side of the driveway.
Elizabeth?
Yeah. Okay, so along the west and north side of the driveway. So just kind of have the fence just follow the edge of the driveway.
Yeah,
It's again,
Because-
it's a bicycle niche, so I don't know how the bikes would access that section. But that fence that we drew there is like 3 foot, you know, to like 3'2" or something. It's pretty minimal, so maybe that's something we could.
so I guess what I'm suggesting is it's just the wrap around from what's going along the road and then up into the driveway, then returns back along the path. That what makes that make sense is that then like there would be a gate along the where the path is, and then the fence would continue north perpendicular to the road up to that top left corner of where
Okay.
the bikes would be, and then continue maybe over to the path, you know, where the steps are going up along the east side of the house.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the part that is dividing the path from the bike and the standalone that just doesn't seem to make sense. And yeah.
All right, so maybe let's just eliminate those 2 little sections for now and that gate. If it's a big issue for you, because I would like to sort of just get an approval to move forward. You know, it's that kind of application I want to come back for 3 weeks with.
And where is the gate? Is that going to be at the front porch, or is it going to be?
No, it's on the plan. It's on the bottom left corner.
Oh, over there. Okay, I got you. Yeah.
Okay, so Elizabeth, explain what you're planning to eliminate from the application.
So maybe we eliminate the 2 little sections that hug the path from the driveway.
Okay. That makes it simpler. That's fine.
Or maybe you make that to your recommend to HDC, and then we can offer that if they also have an issue.
Okay, Holly, you got that? Lucy, any comments?
No, I have no comments. I think that eliminating those 2 little sections is a good idea.
Yeah.
You know, you put one of those wooden bike racks in there and you might feel that you wouldn't need those sections anyway.
Right.
Okay. All right, thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you.
Moving on to 28 Lily. Chris, is that you?
That's me. Probably easy if you scroll to the building elevations. I think that's most likely the best way to sort of demonstrate. May I begin speaking?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay.
And thank you for annotating the history of this structure. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. 2 things we're looking to do. Porch railing. And we're looking to change from a previously approved solid railing to a balustered railing for the porch. It's to the rear left side of the property, which would be the west side. And then we're also looking to change the foundation color that was previously approved as Essex green to Nantucket gray. And if
Okay, is it just those 2 things, really?
that's just those 2 things, yes.
Wow. Great. Comments?
And just so you understand, on the building elevations, we typically show the previously approved elevation above, and then the proposed elevation below, which is highlighted, just so
Great.
you sort of see things in context. So what we're doing.
Perfect, thanks. Lucy?
Yeah, what color is the lattice under the porch? Has that already been determined?
That's a good question. I think we were probably planning for that to be Essex green, and probably in this situation, we would take it to be Nantucket gray.
And out of curiosity, where are the AC units under the porch?
The AC units, I can't recall at the moment. I'm not positive. They may be under the porch.
I think they should be indicated somewhere, somehow.
They're not part of this application, but are there new ones, Chris, that need to be dealt with?
Yes, yes, there are. I certainly can clarify that with you, but not now.
Okay. Is the meeting this evening?
It is.
Yeah. So think you can get it figured out by then?
I would think so, yes.
Good. Okay. Angus?
Hey, Chris, it's good to see you.
How are you, Angus?
I'm good. I hope you're surviving these crazy
It's-
COVID times well.
It's strange.
What is the reason for painting the brick?
You know, it's, if you look at some of the photos, there's just it's been patched and repaired. And if you go all the way to the back of the application, Mickey, if you're controlling that, there are a few photos of the existing conditions. And it's really an intent to really make it more uniform in its appearance, because there's just different types of brickwork, different types of mortar. And this is one way to essentially just bring it all together. And as I said, it was previously approved by the HTC for the Essex green.
When foundations are painted, I really prefer a darker color like the Essex green. The Nantucket gray is you know, it's such a ubiquitous color here on the island. So I don't think it's that big a deal. I guess my first choice would be natural, and then the second choice would be the dark green, and then the last choice would be the gray, but I don't think it would look out of place to be gray. And I don't have any problems with the porch.
Okay. Yep. Personally, I think the porch is good. Got no problem with that. And I'm pretty neutral on the color green versus gray. So, yeah, Chris, if you could just figure out the AC units, I think we're good here.
Okay, so can this go on consent?
Well, not up to us. So I don't know if they've already done the consent list, Holly?
Well, Kathy Flynn wanted this to go before you guys to determine whether or not it should be placed on consent. And that would relate to the two changes that we're proposing.
Yep,
Well-
that's up. If you all are, Mickey, if you all are okay with what his application is before you right now, then it could be on consent. But I will put this caveat in that I don't know if Kathy's going to redo the agenda this evening before the 4 o'clock meeting, because she's just redone it again. So I don't know if she's going to be doing that.
Well, in my discussions with her, she said she would basically, she wanted to hear from you guys
Right.
and then she would adjust the agenda.
Right.
Okay.
Usually it's easier to do it when the HDC meets the previous day, whereas when we have all
Sure.
the advisory boards and HDC on the same day, that can be a little time consuming with posting another agenda, but she will touch base with me after we're done with these 15 items. So if we have a mutual agreement here with the advisory board, then that is something that we could do.
So I think we're generally fine with it. Angus was a little concerned about the color of the foundation, but Angus, how important is that to you?
I'm fine with it going to consent.
Okay. So yeah, it sounds, Holly, like it's sort of a no concerns from us.
Yeah, maybe the AC units could be another application that goes on consent.
Right.
And I will say this, there's a lot of, as you all are aware, of applications before the commission tonight. I don't even know how much they're going to get through this new business this evening.
Right.
And this particular application was halfway down through, but if we can get it on a revised agenda, then, you know, we're good. So, I have put no concerns for this.
Great.
Okay, thank you all for your
Thank
time.
you.
Nice to see you.
Take care.
Go on. So next is anybody here for 75 Orange?
I don't think so.
4 Capom. 14 Lowell.
Yes, hi, this is Victoria Rakov, and I am in a butter, and I'd just love to hear the conversation.
Sure, let's do that next.
Thank you.
And I do have Victoria's comments that she did email in, if you all are interested in her comments, if she's okay with me.
Yes,
See
I'm fine with that. I do want to say, this is my first time through this process. I'm a newbie to this, so I'm assuming some of those questions actually don't go to this group, but if you can just point me in the right direction, that would be great.
Yes. So your concerns, you were talking about the mature trees. That is something that can be brought up through this process. The height, yes, because as long as they meet zoning, the HDC can just doesn't have to you know, concur with what zoning allows. And typically a secondary structure is less than the primary. You also mentioned, I did want to notate that screening, yes, they do look at screening, and then on-site parking. That is something that's a zoning requirement. But of course, if they're going to have hardscaping, that would be before the commission in this group. And then your last question about the trucks going on the road. Unfortunately, that's nothing that this body can do, and I don't know if there's anything you could speak to a DPW on that, but it is a old road. But this commission would be able to handle that question.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, so this is the new dwelling before you. Sorry.
Holly, can you clarify, is this a secondary dwelling or is this an individual property?
I believe this is there was a proposed A&R with this. You know about that, Linda? I think there would this property, the way it stands right now. If they came in to the planning board for a 4181L.
Okay, I can answer that. It is a 4181L. The front cottage is being sold to one person and the owner of the entire thing, who split it off through the planning board under a 4181L and 2 conforming lots, is building his house in the back. And he's going to live there, and the other one's being sold to someone else. So they are 2 freestanding lots.
Okay, so this is an independent lot, so it's really not a second dwelling.
No, it's a standalone behind and way in the back. If anybody hasn't been down to the end of Lowell Place, there's there's 4 bungalows in a row in the front. They're almost identical to some extent.
Yep.
And then there are these huge, deep lots that back up to, actually backs up to Woodbury, Barnabas on the back side, and Woodbury's on the north side. And then the old farmhouse that had all that stuff done to it on the corner of Main and Barnabas is to the left side. So it's tucked in back there. And Victoria's lot is the same way next to it. She's got that nice little bungalow in the front as well. I don't think this will be the last time we see these 4181Ls on that street, but it is a standalone in the back, so it doesn't have any relationship to the one in the bungalow in the front at the moment.
No,
I
it's
did not do this design, so this is the first time I'm seeing it also.
It's not a technical relationship, but it has sort of the same semblance of a secondary dwelling behind the main structure. So, I mean, I know it's a separate lot, so it's not a secondary structure, but you know, it's kind of an unusual situation for a siting. So, Angus or Lucy, you ready?
Angus, go ahead.
Mickey, what you're bringing up with the location of this, it's going to read as a secondary dwelling because there's a house between it and the front of the, you know, the street. So I think it presents an awkward situation for that house up front. It's like there was a front lawn for the house that's being proposed, and a house got plunked down in it. So it's weird to think about it to begin with. But the house that's being proposed, it's very streamlined, and they're elements that are you know, historic, but it feels like something that would be in the woods out of town or in a more rural spot. The cottage corners, but not being like a craftsman house or a shingle style house. It's like it's got the design elements of a few different things. The large expanses of glass, the 2x2, kind of Victorian, but then, you know, the big sliders that are for light, and the balcony, there aren't any corner boards. It's just, there are a bunch of elements with it that I would be very surprised to see this sort of house downtown. And I think, you know, there's a lot to be said for this other house being in front of it and screening it. But I think it's a little bit aberrant to go down that road and look off and see this house. Like, how did that happen? It seems out of place.
Yeah, I do agree with everything you just said. Lucy, do you want to?
Yeah, I agree too.
Any other specific concerns, Lucy?
The north elevation, I mean, you have a big expansive wall there. It looks like it needs below the dormers. That looks weird to me. You see that what I'm talking about?
I do. The windows, the dormers are up really quite high. If that's the floor line, which I'm sure it is, it's oddly proportioned in that respect.
Yeah. That's all.
Okay, I've got a few things. I looked at this earlier and wrote some things down. The trim on this house, on the application, says 2.5-inch rake boards. And it does look like that. When you look at the elevations, all of the trim looks way too thin compared to our normal standards. So I don't know why they're proposing it that way. I think it's trying to look like some sort of a minimalist type of a trimmed house. Even the window trim looks really narrow. I just don't see why we would want that in this. It's in the old historic district. So I think it's the detailing is not appropriate. That dormer that Lucy just pointed out on the north elevation, if you look at the east elevation, you can actually see where it truly sits in relation to the normal window plane. And it's just way above. It doesn't really relate to the floor, and it leaves exposed a lot of bare shingles below it. So I think that needs some work. below that dormer on the north elevation, there's something I can't quite figure out drawn on the building. This sort of panel lines creating the grid work around the windows on the first floor. I'm not even sure what that represents.
Yeah.
So that seems like something that needs to be addressed. The front door is, I guess, a batten door. Not typical for the front door of houses downtown. And oh yeah, the French doors on the south, the 4 light French doors, that doesn't work for me either. I don't think that's a typical light pattern anywhere for a French door. Especially that side door near the front, labeled as number 2 under the door hood. That's got very awkward proportions.
They have those on the second floor going out to the balcony on the same elevation.
Yep, you're right, up above too, the same French doors there. And that gable, the massing, the gable on that south elevation is rather tall and narrow. And the thin trim doesn't help it. I think that plate is because it's shown as higher than the main plate of the building. That's awkward. I think that should be a lower, the additions should have a lower plate than the main mast. So, I think I'm not sure why they're proposing these kinds of details, but I think they're in general fairly awkward. So those are my comments. Anything else?
AC units.
Are they showing anywhere?
I don't see them.
I don't either. Yeah.
I would just echo what you're saying about the north elevation. There's things drawn there that that's a really high eave. And then the dormer is almost flush, but not. I guess my thought is that that's as far away from the street that they're being accessed from. So in that respect, it's, might not be so visible, but then you go to Woodbury and this is like the backdrop for all those houses along there. Mm-hmm. So I have concerns about what would be visible of this. And just to say again, I don't think that this style house belongs here. They're interesting elements, but I think it's the kind of thing it's cool when it's on a rural lot and doesn't have to relate to anything else.
I agree. I think it's a good point. It just doesn't fit into the setting. So
I think it's confusing too. You've got these different dormers. You've got sort of the eyelash dormers in a way, and then you've got the larger ones with complete the square windows, and then you've got those big French doors with 4 lights.
Okay.
Be nice if there was more consistency.
I agree. Any other comments from anybody?
Can I just ask a question about the process?
Sure.
So I noticed that on some of the on the other plans being seen today, there was often landscaping included, and I'm curious how this works. Like, will there be a chance to look at what the landscaping will look like prior to anything getting approved? Does it come back again, and how many times?
Well, first of all, how many times is, that's like a crystal ball. So that's not I can't answer that one. But yes, they are going to be required to submit a hardscaping application before the commission, and that would go before HSAB and before it goes to HTC.
Yeah, so
that's completely separate than the main dwellings.
Victoria, on the plan we have, there's a pool, so they'll have to come back for that. And I will be asking, where's your pool equipment going? you know, that kind of thing.
I was curious because I heard you asking about the AC, so.
Yeah, I'm a big believer. I don't think that stuff should be inflicted on neighbors.
This application or this property actually, isn't this the one where they applied for the pool? Linda Williams, you were there for that one, right?
The pool beforehand?
Yeah, Linda?
That's right.
Where am I?
Right here.
Oh, that's the same property you just looked at.
I know,
Right.
but so the pool has already been approved?
As far as as far as I know, the pool has been up. I don't know if it actually has gotten through the HDC yet because the agendas are so long.
Okay.
There's a whole
I
bunch
can't
of stuff
remember.
up tonight at the beginning that haven't been heard.
Okay, so where's the pool equipment going?
Good question. I brought that up before. I would assume behind the garage, not visible from the street, that's for sure. Oh yeah, it's behind the garage. It's just not on the plan. There's no hardscape plan for this that shows it on this particular application.
Right, and that was also a different agent that was handling that application,
Yeah.
so that needs to be taken into consideration.
I'll ask.
The AC units and the pool equipment should be on a plan. And I personally do not want to hear, oh, we'll put it somewhere suitable, because that's, you know, debatable.
I will find out.
Thank you.
Okay, there's also a garage for
Yes,
this property.
this is the garage.
Yeah, I believe the pool's already been approved. And I think that, Lucy, I think that equipment came up before.
And I don't recall getting an answer.
It's just going to be behind everybody else, not visible from the street, but I don't know where exactly. I'll
I'm
have to find out.
still sticking to the fact that I would like to see it on the plan.
Should be. This is the garage. So the garage doors, I believe, face east and they face the road up the driveway.
Okay.
Now that's a simple structure.
Sort of. Angus?
Yeah.
Same thing. It's just the detail. It's all in the details, you know, the narrowness of the trim. The corner boards, I mean, there's, I'm assuming that it's just a cottage corner. It's not noted on the application,
Yeah, it looks like cottage corner.
but it's you know, it goes with the house that I don't think goes in the neighborhood.
Yeah. Lucy?
My only question, is there a living unit in this garage?
No, there's no secondary dwelling. I don't know what's up there, but is there a floor plan for the second floor, Holly?
There's
No
not.
floor plan, just
Okay.
that. So leads me to believe it's cathedral.
That's excessively high for a garage.
Yeah.
And there's a negative mass that happens there for the awning,
Mhm.
for the garage doors. I like the simple plank doors, and I like seeing a covering there. But the
And back.
steepness of the roof and where it starts,
Yeah.
it really gets up there for a garage that's just a cathedral ceiling. It's 22.7. They're shorter houses.
Well, it'd be better if they had a broken back, Angus, and it didn't continue the roof pitch all the way down, I would assume. So it was like a pent roof instead.
Well, I'm gonna comment on that myself. I think the garage is kind of, as Angus is pointing out, it's very tall for a garage. And part of it seems to be this continuous roof plane to incorporate the covering, the overhang for the garage. If they would isolate that as a separate architectural element.
Yep.
And then maybe they can lower the roof, the whole roof structure
Yep.
over the garage. So probably a lower plate all around. I don't
And just
really-
have a 4 pitch on the pent roof kind of thing over the garage doors.
something like that. So
Yeah.
it creates an awkward sort of plate height in form that you see from the south elevation and the north elevation. It's an awkward shape.
And the brackets look a little dinky.
The west elevation, I would have the eave no higher than the gutter line of the north elevation. I mean, of the of the east.
Yeah,
Like there in
Yeah.
the back, there's a really high plate.
Yeah.
And why?
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
it's
the
weird.
proportions are awkward, and
Yeah.
I don't like the integrated tent roof over the door.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yeah, my biggest concern about the garage, this is Victoria Rakov again, was the height. So I appreciate you noticing that it's far taller than my whole house.
Right.
And I would also be concerned about just in terms of the placement of pool equipment, if that is right, if pool equipment does end up right behind that garage, that is, inches from our backyard because our backyard extends back there. So those were my concerns about the garage.
I'm gonna also add that the garage, when you look at that site plan, the garage is right in line with the front wall of the house. And I think that normally we'd much rather see the garage pushed back, so it's more secondary placement to the front of the house. So I think that sighting needs to be addressed.
Good call, Mickey. It's just in line with it. It'd probably want to be back 4 or 6 feet minimum.
Yeah, it can be your
Okay.
focus when you pull up the driveway.
Okay.
Just a question about that. Again, without the landscaping on the plan, it's complicated. There are 4 mature trees that are somewhere very close to where they've situated that garage. And I believe 2 are actually on their property and 2 are on my property. So I don't know how that ends up playing in because not showing the trees makes it hard to figure out what's doable there.
We've had the tree guy, I was involved with that part of it. We've had the tree guy in there and
Yeah.
both trees are hollowed out and and diseased to a point where a stiff breeze from any direction could either land it on your house or your garage or on their house. So they're going to take down some of them because they are, if you can reach your hand all the way inside to the other side of the tree on 2 of them. So it's pretty drastic.
All right.
Okay. Victoria, you all set?
I am. Thank you for answering all my questions.
You're welcome. Thank you. So next is, what do we have?
You're gonna go to me next if nobody's here?
Sure. 22 Cliff? Yeah.
Gotta wait for Holly. Some years ago, they had come in for this driveway. And I've attached that to the end of this thing. And they were not a lot of comments about it in the minutes because they were doing some renovation to the house itself. So they asked to hold the driveway to track the house. They never did the work on the house, so they never really went forward with the driveway. I believe that was 2015. So now they're back to actually do the driveway, and it's just your standard running bond brick driveway. 7x17 is all they're going to get in there. If I have to come back, I may have to come back to take those stairs back on that, right on the driveway, because they didn't used to be there, but they're there now, where they come into the actual layout of the driveway, but we're going to see if we can get around that.
You want to leave the stairs as they are?
At the moment, until we figure out if we can get past them. Otherwise, we're going to take that left side and come back in and ask to take them off. At one point, they weren't there back in the turn of the century, and then they appeared there. I grew up in the house just to the right, 24 Cliff right there. And some of them have the friendship and some of them don't on these little 3 bays up there.
Mhm. Well, that'll be a separate application that you have to address.
Oh, yeah.
that.
It'll be a
Yeah.
separate application. As you can
When did-
see how it extends past the edge of the house.
Yeah.
And way back, I have an old picture somewhere in here. Maybe I kept it, that shows that it didn't exist there. It came out the door and went the other way. But there's the guy next door. See, I don't know how to turn those things around there. Here's the previous application. Holly, go back up for a second.
Yep. What you need?
Side, does it turn?
Yep.
Left is the guy next door. Right is us. This brick wall right here, I don't even know where it came from. It's fallen into the street. That little piece is going to come out. And then we're going to have to readjust that brick wall between us and readjust the plantings in between us and take the step out.
Do we know how old that granite is in front?
It's a new piece. It's not even.
Yeah, it's weird. Like right here, it's flush.
Yeah, it didn't exist years ago. I don't know how it got there or when it got there. But we put the, that other guy came in for a driveway and then he put the little brick wall up, freestanding brick wall, mind you. Put that wall up there and then we just sort of planted up against it. And now we need to take the planting out of it and then take our part of the brick wall out and then replant it once we get the parking space in there. It's not going to go very deep. It's just going to go off the street.
Linda,
If you look at his plan, he's got it off the street.
Linda,
Mm.
will there be a planting buffer between the two driveways?
We're going to try to maintain that. I can't fathom that I'm going to have anything more than maybe a 12-inch planting bed between them, but there's got to be something between them. Otherwise, it's a
Exactly.
free-for-all over there with brick.
It's his brick wall.
Mhm.
Well, part of it's his brick wall, part of it is on our property. So Art Gasparo is sort of going to tag it as soon as we figure out
Well, if you mod
how
that
much is there.
to what?
So his planting bed is actually on our property.
Okay, but Linda, if you change that existing brick retaining wall, you're going to submit another application?
Yeah, if we have to cut into that wall, we'll be back. But right now, we think we can get it in there by just removing that turn back piece.
This
Which
portion
wasn't
right here.
original. Yeah, it wasn't part of the original wall.
Yeah. And he's indicating you can fit a 7x17 compact space, so that's good.
Yeah.
Let's see
And I'm
if
at the planning board I got it at the planning board, didn't I? No, it's coming up on the 23rd at the planning board.
Okay.
So Angus or Lucy, thoughts?
That house dates 1790.
Mm-hmm.
And the friendship steps were, there's a picture at NHA dated 1944.
Yep, that's in this packet here somewhere.
Here, let me-
Yeah. I measured it. And, well, first of all, what is the code for measurements for parking spots?
7x17 minimum.
What they're proposing is a 7x17 compact parking space. They're allowed to do that because this is not being required by zoning. They're just asking.
Because I looked it up and I got 8x16.
No, there's no space 8x16. It's 9x20 is a
20.
legal space, and a 7x17 is a compact space.
Okay, and then I did do a measurement up there, and there's no way that from the corner of the building to that brick is 7 feet. Right
And then
there.
we do have to take down part of that planting bed that went with the other guy that actually is on our property. So we have to rearrange some of the planting bed. There you can see the dirt on the left and you see where our piece of the wall is right here. That whole piece is coming out. So I'm going to rely on the surveyor rather than my measuring it because I tried measuring it myself. I'm going to rely on the site engineer, frankly.
And then is there an old piece of granite along the street? Is that what you said that was going to get reused?
The curbing,
Curbing.
it's on one of those pictures up higher, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I was trying to look for.
My question is, does that go back to the DPW or does some landscape designer use it?
No,
Yep.
actually, if you look at it, we have an embedded piece of curbing, which may actually stay there
Okay.
because see how flush it is? So we probably work with that.
All right. And I was also concerned, you can see in the photographs, is how are you going to do this parking space with the window wells?
Well, that's a good question. We're gonna have to figure that out.
There
There
are
is,
two down there. And I have a very small car, which is about the size of a paper cup. And to get a car in when you've got all that meters and stuff on the side of the building and those two window wheels, which are not indicated on the site plan, good luck.
it's gonna be a golf cart.
Well, good luck driving that at night on that road.
Yeah.
I am, I think this is too tight.
Yeah, Lucy, I agree that it's awfully tight. I think that staircase alone is going to be the biggest inhibiting factor. Going to get, taken out pretty soon unless they do something about it. But
Yeah, and it's a friendship step. I mean, I love those things.
yeah, I agree. I'm not sure, they're asking for brick paving essentially, and whether it works or not really isn't necessarily our concern.
We're just gonna have to figure it out logistically in the field with Art Gasparo's gonna have to figure out how to do it.
Mhm.
Well, there's another photograph in there that I took without the overgrown vegetation.
There you go. Right there. Go back up, back up,
Back up.
go to the one, back up. This
Yeah,
one right here, right there.
you can see the window wells on the right, the two of
Yeah.
them there. And those plantings that to me appeared to be on the neighbor's property.
They're actually on our side. It's weird, that property line between the two jogs, it's weird. But those I believe are on our side, so they're coming out.
Well, I would say before this goes ahead, that possibly that should be staked out.
That would be helpful to see, Linda. Can you do that?
I asked him to do it, and there was a reason why he couldn't do it.
What?
I did. That was the first thing I asked. Can you stake it going up that side? And I don't know if he put a notation on his site plan, Holly. He put a lot more information on this site plan than he did on the first one.
I can't understand why he would say he couldn't stake it.
Yeah, he's had an email from him about the issues with staking it.
Well, I still say it should be staked.
All right, hold on. Yeah, remove existing vegetation to property line. Abutting owners and or attorneys should be consulted if there may be any damage to plants that straddle the line or disturbance over the property line. So I think there was a reason why he didn't want to crash through there, shall we say.
Well, maybe that was before the trimming had been done. I would ask him again.
Yeah, Linda, I think it would be very helpful to see stakes. There shouldn't be any reason why that can't. It's going to be done eventually, so why not do it now? To show just where the limits of the brick driveway is going to be and what planting is going to remain afterwards.
Okay, I'll go back to him, but that's the first thing I asked him to do, and there was a reason why he couldn't do it.
Well, I think,
Ask again. Angus?
I had the same concerns you all do. I think having it measured out and staked is going to make it a lot more obvious, but that the 7 by 17 parking space is shown right up to the very last inch up against the house. And we see from the pictures that there's window well, there's gas pipe, and if you're not collapsing into the window well, you're collapsing into the neighbor's parking. I think that this is going to take engineering and real nerve to thread the needle to make use of the space. Aesthetically, I don't have an issue with it. I'd rather see a friendship stair, but if there's a historic precedent that exists of it only going up from the north side, I don't have an issue with it aesthetically.
The fence, the old fence, you can tell it's not original, the friendship part of it, because when you look at it from dead straight, friendship stairs usually didn't extend beyond the edge of one part of the house.
Correct.
These extend a couple of feet south of the house. And if
Right.
you look at the older picture, you can see that there was a common picket fence that ran in front of the other house to this porch, right up to the left side of that porch. So this whole piece was added at some point.
That all makes sense, and I could see that. But the other thing is, if this is going to be a parking space for the house, it would have made sense that the stair would have come up from the parking to the door rather than having to go around the stair.
Well,
to
that's
get
their
up.
problem, I guess. It
And
was my
there's-
idea.
The stairs have been there since 1944.
45, yeah, at least that 44 picture.
Yep.
All I
Okay,
can say is friendship stairs came into existence way before we had vehicles.
Yeah. Horse and buggy time.
so Linda, you get the idea?
Yep.
Let's try to stake it. And it sounds like, the aesthetically not a, and I kind of agree, I'm not terribly concerned about seeing a brick paving in this area, whether it works as a driveway or not, not my
Okay.
concern. But I think it would be real helpful to know what landscaping is retaining, remaining.
Okey-doke.
I'd like to see this one back if we could.
I'll get to Art and see what he can do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
I think
Linda.
that's it for me.
Okay. So
Alright,
now
what's
we can go back to, did we
Yeah.
skip 85 North Liberty?
We skipped 4 Howard. And yes,
We're back at 85, Lily.
85 Lily. Yeah. Let's go back.
85 North Liberty?
85 North Liberty, yes.
Okay.
Right. This is a shed in the back.
Looks pretty simple.
Yeah, I had no problem with it. As long as they get rid of that plastic one.
Yes, this is supposed to replace that plastic one, my understanding.
Yes.
This one right there.
Any thoughts, Angus?
It seems fine to me.
Yeah, no concerns with me.
Perfect. We'll be able to put this one on consent.
Good.
Take one off the agenda.
3 Westchester.
All right, so here this is for another driveway apron.
Yeah, this date of this house is 1800.
1810 by the HDC survey is what I
Oh,
got.
I think if the plaque on the front says 1800.
Okay. Do they have an NPT plaque?
Hold on, let me consult my photos here.
Because I'll hang my hat by NPT.
Yeah. What I do is walk around town.
I looked at this one earlier, and to me, this application is lacking a lot of information. They're putting a parking space right through a retaining wall, and it's kind of a sloped area, so they might have to do some further retaining along the side or the back, and they're not showing anything of any detail. In fact, they're not even showing that they're removing the curb on the street. You know, what are they doing with the fence? It's, I think we need, I mean, I'm not necessarily opposed to it in general, but I just think they're not showing exactly what they're doing.
it brings up Angus's point too, that wouldn't you have the stairs coming towards or the parking would be on the side, the steps going up to the house?
Yeah. More convenient, that's for sure.
Okay, Holly, it's Philip Foz, D-I-E-K, Mariner 1800, according to the NPT plaque out front.
Perfect. Thank you. I keep a list of their house histories.
Mhm.
For reference. So I want to say also this one had to go to the planning board as well for the driveway. I believe they got it,
Okay.
but it would be nice to have that information.
Yes.
So obviously from a curb cut standpoint, they're going to be going right here. We've got some
Mhm.
historic curbing here. They're required to give back anything that they take out that they're not going to use. They're supposed to give back to DPW. And
Does
that's
it really go back though? I mean, I'm saying this because I have heard a landscape designer saying, oh yeah, we're looking for some old curbing that we could use. And it wasn't for the street.
no, they're supposed to. It says, I can tell you this on their curb cut application that goes before the DPW, which DPW is not going to sign off on anything within the old historic districts without HDC approval first. They're required to provide any additional material, historic material that they're not going to use back to DPW because essentially it's town property. So.
You know, when you scroll a little to the left there, Holly. Okay, so yeah, the cross section. They're showing the curb remaining, aren't they? Existing road.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Existing.
Because I lost the big picture.
Existing brick sidewalk. We're looking at the cross section.
Oh, okay. All right, I got it on my iPad.
So
Yeah.
it's odd that they're asking for a driveway but not putting the curb cut in.
Right.
And they're also, as I said earlier, they're not showing any of the side retaining that looks like it might be required. And I think this just needs more detail to tell us really what's going on here rather than just putting brick on the ground.
Yeah, that is odd.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts about this one?
I had given Holly some other photos. I don't know if you can see the back to the.
Yep. Let me get them up.
No, you really can't see.
So they have a fence that they're going to be taking down. We need to know what's going on there. So, I think we need to see this one back with more detail.
Okay. Yeah.
Angus, do you have any comments on this?
I think it's all been said. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Next is 49. We did 49 Hilbert. Lily, 75 Orange.
Okay, so this property, circa, I got 1810 typical Nantucket. They actually recently came in for a like kind for their front door. Same panel, same color, wood. But they wanted to add a storm door, and I said, not a like kind. So that's why they're before the commission. And you all. Trying to find. So there's their existing door. They did the like kind on the door slab. And I want to say they have examples in here. Or they're supposed to have examples of what they want.
Yeah,
Here it
I'm
is.
fine with it.
So that's what they're wanting. My understanding is these are older people who are, I guess, staying on Nantucket longer. I think they're year round now, whereas before they were seasonal. So they're wanting to have more of a substantial storm door.
Angus?
I think.
There are a gazillion of these storm doors on these historic facades. I don't have an issue with it.
I don't really either. I like seeing the door without the storm on it, but I think it's acceptable as proposed.
Well, it's
So you-
easily reversible too.
True.
So you all be, I'm sorry.
The only thing is, does it make sense to have that panel on it? Oh. I mean,
Yeah,
could it just go down to could the glass go down to the bottom rail?
looking at the side lights next to it, it might make more sense to just do a full glass pane.
Unless they have a screen insert or something.
They do it both ways. I think you can have a full panel with a screen too.
That's what I was thinking, Mickey, was about the side lights. It seems like the glass would go down to the glass of the side lights.
Yeah, there might be better relationship there. It's a good point.
So you'd rather see it without the panel on the bottom and go all the way down?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Do they make one like that? That's wood?
I'm pretty sure the Ultra View or something.
If you scroll down,
Oh yeah, okay,
There it is.
sorry.
Yeah.
So like this one?
like that one, but I mean, I don't want to force them into getting a more expensive oak instead of pine,
Right.
but something that looks like that.
Okay, gotcha. So with that, I'm not gonna put this one on consent then.
Okay.
Could it go on consent if they opt for the Ultra View, Oak Ultra View? To speed up things for HDC?
We would be, I'd have to ask Kathy if we could do a, on consent with conditions.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm into it.
It's such a little thing that's,
I know.
Good.
and a lot of people would just go ahead and do it.
Oh, yes. Look.
Okay. Next, for Capone.
So the next one's what, for Capom?
Um,
I like saying that, Capom. Don't mind me.
This is actually this is a former
As long
client.
as you stay out of the pond.
This is a former client of mine, and Ben is proposing this. I'm gonna abstain from this one.
Okay.
Well, how will that work? Because we won't have a quorum anymore.
You're not gonna,
Correct.
but you can make comments.
Yeah, you can do that. So this is for the new storage shed, which is going off of Capone.
I had no problem with this.
I have no problem with it either.
Okay. And I saw that this was between a 1930s and 1950s. Does that sound right? The main dwelling?
No, this is a brand new building.
All right. So see, I was wondering about that. I know a lot of stuff has changed. Oh yeah, North Cliff. Okay. Yep.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Yep.
All right. No concerns. Got it.
So, oh, we did India. No.
Or
Or
Howard.
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 And I have your photos, Lucy. Let me get those. Thank you for that too, by the way. Helpful.
This is how I get my exercise.
All right. So I am just assuming, I have not talked to anybody, but I think this is an as-built
Oh,
based on what we are seeing, what they're asking, and the photos that Lucy has provided. You remember this was part of 2 Howard Court. This is 4 Howard Court. This was the second little structure there. They subdivided it, I think, a couple years ago under a 4181L under the subdivision control law. And it's come in here for quite a different things over the past couple years. Chimney. I know Diane's not gonna like that, but they're requesting a removal of the chimney and a color change
Both of which are already done.
based on dun, 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 no chimney. Color change.
what was
What?
the floor? The floor.
I was gonna look at that again.
Trim was white.
Quaker gray.
Trim color change to white from Quaker gray.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go.
I think we reviewed this before, and I can't remember what it was, but I remember walking up there and the work had already been done. I seeing this chimney removed has me wondering about how fines are issued.
I don't get into that part, so
Yeah, I don't know the date of this building.
originally I think it was turn of the century, 1900 originally.
That's what it says.
I guess I have a real problem with people coming in with an as-built or something like this and having torn down historic material. And it's sort of with, oh, oops, sorry. And when they know better.
It is quite discouraging.
And this is right across the street from Greater Light. You know, it's,
Mm-hmm.
Did we lose Angus? I think Angus fell off.
Uh-oh.
Hope he comes back on. Yeah, I think, when I look at on the minutes on this from the HDC meeting just prior, there was a comment, you must have done this, Holly, that no one supports eliminating the chimney.
Correct.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that we all wanted the chimney and they took it out by mistake. I think they put it back, I guess.
yeah, it's not by mistake. I mean, I said something to Kevin about it. His comment was, make them build the chimney back up.
Well, it wasn't approved for removal,
That's right.
so I think that's what we're gonna recommend.
Put it back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Old brick too.
Yeah, be a light kind.
Angus made a comment earlier, so I think we can include him having looked at this, even though he's disappeared.
Yeah, he was agreeing that he didn't like the
Yeah.
historic.
Okay.
I mean, there's
Very
almost
well.
nothing left of this house.
Nope. Okay. Who's Kathy? What application are you here for?
Hi, my name's Kathy Fennel, and I am Vicky Rakov's wife. You heard from Vicky earlier.
Okay.
14 Lowell Place. So I'm just listening in just to try and learn a little bit more how these meetings run, and I'm just enjoying it.
Well, I also will note that the world of Zoom is interesting, to say the least.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Just checking. There's Angus.
There's Angus.
So next one is what, 4 Chestnut?
Yes.
4 Chestnut.
Your favorite, Lucy.
Kathy, I had, while my Liberty Street house was being worked on, I had a apartment above the Cashmere store right across the street from this. And Kevin and I used to joke, those AC units would be going year round, and we would laugh at like, oh, they must be refrigerating dead people or something like that. They're right at, shoulder level. It's just, I don't understand it. I think that, isn't there the new technology, those wall-mounted AC units that you can put inside? Condon and Coleman has them
Mhm.
in our office.
Mini
Mickey, you
split.
know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they're called mini
Mini
splits,
splits. Yep.
Oh, okay.
but they still require the condenser outside.
Well, they've got that garage downstairs.
Well, in this case, are they trying to eliminate the exterior condenser units and replace them with essentially window units below the windows?
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Here's the grills.
I know, that's exactly what they have on the Roberts house right now.
Those grills.
Right here. Existing conditions. There's the Roberts house.
Hmm.
Mariner house.
Yeah.
So they project out.
They do.
Too.
They're horrid.
Yeah.
And they're saying it's a precedent.
Angus?
Was that ever approved? Did they just cut through the side of the building on the sidewalk side and stick that out?
I don't know.
They've been there for quite a while.
That doesn't seem appropriate.
No, they're horrible.
Yeah, and they're white from what their description. So they're really
Yeah,
gonna
white.
stand out.
White on white clapboard might be okay, but white on shingle is not going to be.
Because of the grills, they're still going to read as a sort of a black rectangle, a dark rectangle of some sort. It's not going to disappear.
I think we have to consider too that, if we approve new ones, then, these things may be popping up all over the place.
Yeah, I agree.
But it might be an improvement if it's not protruding.
There are some of these throughout town. I think Zero Main or Zero Washington, whatever it is, has similar things. I don't know that we want to just set a precedent and say these are fine throughout town.
Well, there's nothing fine about it, but if it is an improvement on an existing thing that's worse.
Well, what's existing, I think it's shown in the site plan. There's a couple of condenser units in the back of the building, right?
Yeah, condenser pad. Okay, folks, how would you like these things sticking out of the JC instead of what we have?
Yeah.
That'd probably be better.
Maybe in this case. I don't know. I think I'd opt for the condenser pads, concrete pads with the condensers outside rather than these all over the building, much more visible.
Me too.
I wasn't understanding exactly what the application was for. I thought it was taking the ones that were sticking out and putting them in, but those were just examples of similar situations of what's been approved or what exists through town. I agree. These condensers should be remotely located, screened in such a way, and then tubed to wherever they're being used.
I think so too.
Notice that the drawing of their detail doesn't give the depth.
No, that's not clear at all, actually. So I think we have to assume that they're just like the ones they photographed, so they're going to stick out.
Isn't this new construction? I thought this was just built.
It is. This is.
It is.
Why wouldn't air conditioning already be in there?
I think it is, and then that's why they have those condensers outside in the back. But maybe they feel they're not working enough, and they want individual ones.
Well, they should be able to figure out, do something, go through the basement and do that. Isn't this a two-part application that on the Roberts house, they want to move one of the AC units to under another window. And then this new building, then they want to put them in the new building.
Yes, they're wanting to relocate the ones at 11 India Street. This structure is the one that has that basement to it.
Yeah, the garage.
Yeah, that funky thing.
It looks like there are discrete places where condensers could go remotely there.
Well, go all the way down, Holly, to the bottom. There's some pictures attached, and it shows where they already existing south elevation. They've already got some.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is that seen from India Street or something?
I don't think so. Look at the site plan. You'll see it's kind of squeezed behind back buildings. They could screen it a little better if it was, but
I don't think those can be seen from India Street.
no, the meeting house will hide those completely, I would think.
All right, so not appropriate and put them on the pad in the back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
leave them where they are, basically.
Yep.
Yep.
And I think maybe, Holly, if you think it's right, is to make a notation that we don't want to be setting a precedent.
Correct. Yep, I put that in.
I was just about to say that we don't want to go down a road where this is acceptable in any way.
This is a bad idea.
Yeah. Good.
And now that they bring it up, they might want to screen those AC units on the south elevation.
Yeah, if they're visible. But they should.
Well, someone can see them out their window.
So next is 11 India. Relocate HVAC wall unit.
All right, so 11 India, the Roberts house. relocating from here to here.
Mhm.
Really?
That's right on Center Street. Yes.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, they're right there.
How did that ever just happen like that?
Yeah.
That just shouldn't be. Look at that photo of existing west elevation. That's just horrible.
Mhm.
Well, scroll down and look at the, the old photograph.
That's the way it should be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's looking- Well, what are we saying about this one? The move, it's existing.
Well, I hate to see old fabric cut into again.
And, I think that it's under a window, at least it's relating to something. There, it's in such a random place where they're proposing to put it.
No, I think it's existing there. They want to move it under the window, I think.
No, they want to move it over, I think.
Oh, no, maybe
Existing.
you're right, Angus.
Relocate.
To
Under the window.
Oh,
But I hear what you're saying, Lucy, about taking out even more fabric, but I wish they would all go away.
I'm just envisioning an electrician getting a hold of a sawzall and just hacking away.
Well, to be honest, I still think it's an improvement to put it under the window.
I agree. Maybe they can save the clapboard from under the window and
Put it over there.
put it over there.
Mm,
Yeah.
Is it going to be the same size as the other units?
We're just saying to relocate it, so you assume it is.
no dimensions.
Yeah, well, there are no dimensions, and is it going to stick out the same amount?
Mhm.
Should we just make this contingent on it matching existing conditions?
Yeah,
Yeah.
did they ever get approval to put these in to begin with?
Right?
Don't know.
Yeah,
I'd like to see that approval.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd like to see them all go away.
Mhm.
no kidding. I mean, it was really creepy. We used to notice that one of them would run year round.
Right on the street. I mean, that's our,
Okay,
Okay.
moving on.
Yes. 21 Old South Wharf, right?
Yep.
Fenestration. So I have to look at this.
Yeah, this is a
I
lot
can't
more
tell.
than just penetration.
Yeah.
Did everybody get their flu shot?
Yeah.
No. Existing bay window to be demolished. Isn't this similar to what they came in with before?
They're proposing to remove, to create an outdoor little terrace there. From what keep going down. Yeah, yeah. I don't see this. There it is.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, I see.
That's more appropriate for the jetties.
To me, it's a, I mean, it probably would be a nice restaurant space, but it's a huge negative mass. And it's a pretty old building, in fact, I think.
I think these are Beinecke's from 1969.
It could be, they've included Sanborn maps. And it looks like there was something there in the 23 map. So I don't know if that was a different building.
On their application, it says 1970.
Yeah, 69, 70 is when Beinecke did all that down there.
Yeah.
So,
Well, anyway.
yep, there we go.
I would be more open to seeing this as treated kind of like with tilt up window sash, like they've done at the Gaslight, and also where else have they done?
What have they done with the restaurant at the further down? That used to be like the Morning Glory or
Morning Glory, yeah, I remember that.
is that rows of windows?
That's just an outdoor terrace or
Yeah,
patio or covered.
patio.
It's not part of the building as this is.
I agree with you. This is feeling more like the corral space at the chicken box than I think something more along the lines of the Gaslight with rows of windows, and it could be intermixed with picture windows so it doesn't get so tedious. But something that is glass with some operable windows for air.
And they can tilt them up inside, which we've seen them do in other places. They disappear if that's what they want, but at least most of the time we'll see them as glass windows. Probably be better for them anyways for weather.
I think that's a good suggestion.
That's a great idea.
Honestly, I'd rather see that than the 15-light French door in the bay window.
Yeah. Right. So it sounds like we're not necessarily in favor of what they're proposing, but would suggest putting in fenestration to avoid the major negative massing field that they're proposing. They're also suggesting some new windows on the east elevation. These are all, are these all casement windows? Why aren't we doing double hung windows in this building?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would suggest, well, they say some of these are existing on the north elevation already. Is it that they're out of the photograph?
Yeah, they changed part of this building out a while ago. Where's that photo? This side.
Yeah, I can't tell what kind of windows those are, but they do sort of look like casements. Or, I don't know about casements, but there's 6 lights anyways.
So okay with taking out the bay window,
Yes.
just not the way they want to do it.
Right. Looks like those windows, they've already replaced. They must swing in. When you look at that photograph closely, it looks like wooden screens on the outside, maybe. So the windows must tilt in. Or hinge in. Do we have a window description on what they're proposing?
I just saw a whole bunch of doors.
Hinge door. Dutch door. Fixed.
Fixed light TDL. Fixed.
Mhm.
Fixed.
Hmm.
Hmm. Well, if that's what we want to add more of those or go switch to double hungs? I don't know.
You all want to see this one back?
I'd
Yeah.
love to see that, definitely.
Is there a better solution for that vent hood?
Oh, yeah.
For the what?
The
Vent.
venting system?
Yeah.
Is there any way that those could be enclosed with brick?
Probably only up to a certain point, and then it probably needs good ventilation around it.
That barbecue place had a real problem with it. And I think that the HDC made them change it.
They had a lot of really visible ductwork up there, I think. Are they asking for this hood also?
Well,
I don't believe so. It's just the fenestration revisions is what the application says.
Mhm.
Let's see.
can you, Holly, can you ask and see if that vent hood was approved?
We can ask. Yep, we can ask.
So for these windows on the east elevation, there's one existing double hung. And the south elevation, which they're not, yeah, they are getting rid of a double hung, but they're leaving a 3/3. I don't know, I think I'd be inclined, even though they've already put in one of those or 3 of those 6 lights, I don't think I'd want to see more of those. I think they should use 6 double hung windows.
Or like you say, the something that's maybe that that glass size is the 6 light, but maybe it would be 3 lights across or 4 lights across, so that it'd be a 9 light or a 12 light that would be that would lift up on the inside.
Well, like instead of having, so maybe if this is what you're saying, Angus, instead of the 6 light configuration, just make it look like, I guess, a 12 light, 6/6. And they can fix it if they want, but it'll keep the smaller pane sizes.
Yeah, but if you're looking at the proposed east elevation where there are 2 6 light windows that are molded together, it would, if it were just a 12 light, 3 lights high and 4 lights across, that whole thing would.
No, I would make that a pair of mold 12 lights, With the one in the middle, they want to take it out and put a fixed light in. So make that one, make it look like a 6/6. They could even have a beefed up meeting rail as a single pane. We've seen that in storm windows in the past.
Yeah.
And then the
So
two,
the light proportion would have to change because it's only 3 lights high, and a 6/6 would be 4 lights high, right?
well, it would be the same configuration that's the same proportion pane that's existing. just one sash that's fixed, right? Because it looks like the window that they're putting in is the same size as the old one they're taking out.
Yeah, I'd like to see this back with a proposal for optional glass wall, basically, where they're proposing it to be wide open. And I think that this side, the east side, has to reflect that same sort of feeling to make it consistent.
Yeah, but you know, I see what you're saying, Angus, but this is the other end of the building and there's shingles around it. The other one is going to be possibly corner to corner, you know,
Yeah,
like an enclosed porch.
yeah,
But this
I
is,
hear you.
and this is just mold windows.
Yeah,
So I think they can be different than what they're doing on the other end.
but 6/6 double hungs.
Yeah, 6/6 double hungs. If they want to make it a single fixed light sash that looks like a 6/6, that's okay.
Yep.
Is there handicap access?
Good question.
I would hope so.
But
Not a requirement.
yes,
I see steps.
there is a ramp going inside, but there are steps leading out. Oh no, wait a minute. No, it's a ramp on the proposed. It's all ramp.
Oh, it is? Okay, I wasn't,
But there's
I thought it might be steps.
steps on the backside, but there's a ramp going up to the front door. It looks like.
Okay, good.
Holly, what are your comments on that you're going to be telling the HTC?
Okay, so not appropriate here, more for the jetties. This is a huge negative mass. Treat it like the Gaslight Theater instead. Feeling like a corral. Need a row of windows. Let's see. Windows are better for the negative mass. Double hungs, not fixed. Lucy asked about the venting system, if that was approved. And you had said for the east elevation, have double hung 6/6 or a single fixed. And then optional glass wall in the west. Right?
Okay, can I try to clarify that a little bit more concisely?
Sure.
So on the west, on the new exterior dining room area, we'll call it, instead of having open walls, what we'd like to see are, and they could be big fixed light, or not fixed, but single light picture units that hinge up, just like they have done on the Gaslight Theater. I don't think we're proposing double hung windows in that location.
Okay, so sorry, there was somebody that came in here earlier when you guys were talking. So so that'd be for the west elevation?
The west, what's that whole end of the building that they're
Yep.
proposing to open up completely?
Yep.
Instead of those openings they can be, in my opinion, they can be large picture, multi-light picture windows. They might be like 18 or 24 or more
Yep.
light, hinged at the top and swinging in, like at the
Maybe-
Gaslight Theater.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but before this is all written down again, you know those porch windows that slide? Does something like that make sense?
Well, then you still have a lot of, look at the west elevation, you're only going to get, there's still going to be part of it that's going to be covered. You can't get
I'm
rid
just thinking of, like, our main gist is to have that enclosed with glass.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's the best way to do that? Whether it's double hungs or windows that lift, that are hinged at the top or push out. And I'm just throwing out another option of the porch windows that just sort of slide side to side.
That's another option that they should review.
Okay, sorry.
So I just wanted to clarify that type of window that at least I'm proposing, and I don't know, Lucy, what you feel about that proposal, or
I think either the windows that lift or slide are fine. I think that, well, if the windows lift towards the inside, how would you work that on the corners? So would the sides or the end do the slides and the two sides do the lift? But I think either one that would serve its, would do well. But do you understand what I'm saying?
I do. You raise a really good point about the corner windows. You
Yeah.
can't lift them both into the same spot at the same time, unless you're really clever about it.
So you do at the end, the right and left side, you could do those sliders and have the middle section lift.
Yeah.
And then the sides of the building have lifts.
Yeah, the net result being that it looks like large glass multi-divided light windows, panes, and what they do with them when they want them open is really up to them.
So basically a glassed-in porch.
Right.
Very similar to something that has been seen in Sconset. I think on Back Street, maybe. I have the idea of what you're saying. Basically, you guys also want to see options, requesting options to look almost like the Gaslight Theater with multi-pane lights.
And then on the east elevation, I think we said basically we like it to look more like double hung windows with a light proportion of a double hung rather than a fixed light.
Right.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
You got one more.
46 Walsh.
Another shed.
Lots of sheds. I think there was a reason for this too, that it didn't go on consent. Wanted you guys to take a look at it. Change shed location. There we are, right there. Oh, look. Proposed shed, right
Where
here.
was it before?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Move walkway, proposed walkway. Not sure.
Oh, it was on the other side of the lot. If you scroll down, you'll see.
Okay, yeah. Oh, this is the one that had that second story deck.
Right.
Remember that?
Yep,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
right up against
And you
it.
guys, yeah, you had
I thought that was weird.
concerns on that. So this is a better location,
Definitely.
much better.
Okay.
The elevation looks the same. It's got the approved stamp on it. So.
Yeah.
Do we have any concerns on this one?
No concern.
I was just gonna check the paint color and everything.
Let's see.
White.
White. 712 roof pitch.
Roofing material.
Let's hope to match the house. Doesn't say.
Doesn't say.
No, doesn't say. Let's go see what the main application said. Roof, black. Architectural, perfect.
No concerns?
No concerns here.
No, but then they say remove walkway, proposed walkway.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that.
That's about.
They don't seem to be applying for it on the application.
Yeah, it's just this, so.
I have
I
no
would-
comments to the shed.
Okay. Then I would feel fine to put this one on consent as well. I'll just make sure I talk to Kathy and say that, they approve this, that it's annotated that the commission is not approving this, proposed walkway thing. It's just for the shed only.
Good.
Okay. Awesome.
All right. That's it. Oh, hey, Holly.
Yes.
This we weren't able, did Manikit review the changes to that?
Yes, as a matter of fact, they did meet earlier this morning. I was not there. Linda was. And Linda's supposed to provide staff with their minutes, comments on that particular application. I guess that was the only one that they had.
Were you at the meeting? Can you comment on that at all? What
I was not at their meeting, no, unfortunately.
I'm going to send you some comments that I have, so you could you read those at the HTC's?
Yes.
Review.
Yep. This one on. Did this come back? Old business. I'm trying to remember. This was already heard. So it's not even on for, yeah, no. So it would be, this is new business. So I think it would be on for next week, I would assume. Yeah.
Not to
It's-
discuss this one specifically, but this is apparently a very old structure. And it's a historic structure. Normally, our board would expect to see old structures throughout the island, correct?
Well, I've heard some conflicting information, and of course, I'm only taking this from Kathy, and Kathy was taught a certain way too. So, I mean, that I don't understand why we would have two boards looking at the same application. So obviously, if it's in Manikit's advisory area, Manikit would look at it. If there's something that's in the middle of the island, that is historic, that's not in with any of the locations, I don't see why not, that you guys could take a look at it as well. I'll put the caveat on that. I try to look at those myself to make sure there is an additional review on that, as well as, the proposed demos that are outside of either HSAB or Sconset, to do the same thing on that as well. There's plenty of historic structures that are mixed in around the island.
Right.
That are not within those two 1955 local historic districts. That's just,
Yeah,
within the
like
island.
the old tea house in Quays next to me that was torn down.
Mm-hmm.
And that, the file was this thick and I appealed it. I didn't hire a lawyer. I mean, I could have, but I didn't. And Matt was the only one on the select board who stood with, I mean, I was shocked, frankly. The oldest house in Quays.
Well, this is the Historic Structures Advisory Board, not just the old Historic District Advisory
Right.
Board. So
Yeah.
I would think that we would have jurisdiction over any historic building on the island, including, and maybe it's a little redundant, but I don't see why we can't review something that even Manikit. Well, I guess we don't want to do all of Sconset because that'd be a lot of historic buildings.
But who does?
So I do have some information that Kathy sent to me this weekend. That's how much this lady works. She was in the office on Saturday. And we have a list of street names for both the historic structures and Sconset advisory of all the roads that are in each jurisdictions. That was revised, I guess, March of this year. And that's what staff goes by when the applications come through. Yes, I think there also is that map. I have it on my wall, so I'm pointing to. That was, I guess, revised within the last couple of years, where you all extend obviously past on Brant Point, but the old historic district doesn't go past Brant Point. So you guys do, you guys do go above and beyond on some of those locations. And Sconset's looking at the same thing to match with the Sconset area plan. Essentially, you guys have an approved map area. I think the purview is helpful. So I don't know.
That's what we worked out with John was expanding the area that goes up to Lincoln Circle and that there were areas of town that were included where we see everything, whether it's historic or not. But then beyond that bound, I think you're right, Mickey, is that if it's historic, we would see it. Not in Manikit or Sconset, but anywhere else on the island.
Okay, yeah.
We're just losing so, I mean, there's so few of those little cottages left. It's a shame.
Well, and it boils down to the information. What's available. There's a lot of information that gets provided, I think, to the HDC over the years that just sits in the file. You know, it doesn't actually get within a survey, a Form B on available with Macris. So there's that disconnect as well, which we're trying to grapple with slowly. It's on a case by case basis. There's information that contradicts. Here's one. I look at as you guys are aware, I look at NHL and I look at what we have HDC survey. I look at Lancaster. I look at HABs, NHA. I look at all these different documents, and sometimes there's conflicting information. I go, okay, here's what I'm finding, and then lo and behold, I find out a couple of years ago that structure was demolished, and this is a contemporary structure. What? So even updating those, like on Easy Street, for instance.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that one with the slider door. I thought that was that 1930s that was there. But apparently that was done in 2014
Very
or
recent.
so. Yeah. So I wasn't privy to that and didn't even think about it. I guess that's how good the infill was, I guess. So anyway.
Well, I realize it'll be hard to pick out from the middle of the island of historic buildings that are on random streets, unless you happen to know and recognize that building as a historic building. Otherwise, it may not indicate it on the application. So
right.
We just have to be watchful and try to remember, I'll be looking myself, and if somebody notices an old building that's not on our agenda, we might want to point that out.
I always understood that the HDC wasn't that concerned about the old buildings outside of town.
Well, they should be.
Yeah.
Not
And
privy to that.
we should be seeing them too. Okay. Anything else to discuss?
Nope. Just be ready for camp on Friday.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
Right.
I've
What's
been
on
working.
Friday?
That's Friday from 9 to 12:30. You guys all have the Zoom information that I sent out. So you have that. Came from camp,
Yeah.
actually the big letters on the top. And our camp trainers are excited to participate with Nantucket. So
as long as we don't get graded.
no, but they're all looking forward to it. These are great people in preservation. So I'm excited. You should
Good.
be too.
Great.
Can I make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Gotta approve the comments, please, first.
Oh, right.
Angus?
Motion to approve the comments.
I'll second.
Let's see. All those in favor, Angus?
Aye.
Lucy, and I'm in favor. Motion, Angus, to adjourn,
Motion.
seconded by Lucy. Lucy, are you in favor?
Yes.
Angus, are you in favor?
I'm in favor.
So am I.
Awesome.
Thank you
Thanks
all.
for
Thanks,
Terry,
Holly.
Mickey.
Thank
Holly.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.